What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. It is Thursday, October 24th, and we've got a good one lined up for you guys today. The main topic, we're talking about two altcoins with both very big headlines as they're working together with Bitcoin. I'm talking about Chainlink and Cardano, both of them working to solve the exact same problem that Bitcoin has when it comes to smart contracts. Will this bring larger price action to the upside for both of these projects? Could it potentially be a legitimate reason why Cardano ends up having a very good bull market? We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. Do not go anywhere. Smash the like, hit subscribe. But first, we got to roll the intro. Oh,
how we doing?
How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing better than I deserve. How are you?
I'm doing good. Do you know how to pronounce this super chat that just came in? I think the first word is Groot. I think that little B thing is silent. It's German because the end of it's mein Bruder. But how do you pronounce the second word?
I am not sure. I'm going to throw this into a translator to make sure that we are not getting ourselves any wordy dirties here.
Oh, that's true. Crypto for everybody. You think he'd do that to us, huh?
It's possible.
Oh,
Maybe.
Man.
It says, according to Google, we have been served a super chat that reads, "Greetings, my brothers."
Grüßt euch, meine Brüder.
Say it again?
Grüßt euch, meine Brüder.
Grüßt euch, meine
Grüßt
Brüder?
euch, meine Brüder.
That's really fast. All right, this is not the show we're going to be learning a second language, but you know what? Glad to have you in here, Crypto for everybody. Thank you for not using a foreign language to say something we should not say on the internet and getting our channel banned. Very appreciative of that. T-Shroom, I don't know if you said it. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing better than I deserve, Tim, and I
That's
did
good.
say it, but it's always good to check how your friends are doing.
I didn't know if you said it in German, and I just completely missed it. So, had to cross my T's, dot my I's there. We got a good one lined up today. A lot of news we got to cover today, T-Shroom. So I'm going to do my best. Keep the charts. We're gonna do the charts, right? We're gonna look at a couple coins here. We gotta look at Tesla as well. By the way, Tesla just making some noise today. It is all over X that I'm watching. Even the crypto fam paying attention to what's happening on the Tesla chart. So we'll take a look over there, give you our analysis. But first, T-Shirt, anything you want to say to the people before we jump into the charts?
I'm feeling bullish. I hope you bought what could have been the final dip. We shall see. Let's go ahead and check out the bubbles.
Poor T-Shroom. There's always another dip. But is it as low? That's the question. A lot of green here today. A lot of green with the exception of ApeCoin, OM, Hex, Flare. Okay, there's a couple red ones, but you guys see a sea of green on here. Mu is our biggest gainer of the top 100, up 23%. But Pith, 11.6% is our highest, I would say, legitimate coin rising up there. Pith, we have been big on here on the Investing Bros channel, but Beam is doing pretty well as well, up 8.5, SPX 10.4, Pendle at 4.9%, Ondo at 3.6%, Solana, only 3.6 for Solana, but Solana's creeping up there, continuing to make those higher moves we've talked about for a while. Do not be sleeping on Solana, even if it is not going to have the greatest returns of everything. It's going to be a top 3 coin. It's going to make a lot of noise, but it's not the main coin of the day. Today, we're going to be talking about Chainlink and Cardano. Stick around for the news on them because there are some pretty big things happening with them, but it's time to transition into our charts. Let's start off with the largest cryptocurrency, that is Bitcoin. It tells us what the market's going to do overall. We've kind of used this analogy in the past. If you're newer, welcome. So glad to have you in here. Just so you know, if you smash the like button and we get to 300 before the 30-minute mark, somebody's going to get $25. If we get to 600 by the end of the show, someone's getting $100. I have this feeling, T-Shroom, today could be a day we give away some money. I just had that feeling, but we need people to smash the like button if you want to get some of that. The reason we're going to talk about Bitcoin is because a lot like a person who walks a dog, the dog might run out ahead or the dog might fall back behind, but ultimately you as the dog walker control where that walk is going. Well, in the same way, altcoins a lot of times can front run Bitcoin. A lot of times they can fall behind, but ultimately they follow the trajectory of Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin doing today? We told you guys to keep an eye out on pulling back to or a little bit below $66,000. Of course, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but that's exactly what happened. And we have found ourselves in a nice little V-shaped pattern with a very large wick, even on the 4-hour chart, giving us a very good, at least temporary long position here. That is a great communicator. If you are ever doing charts, keep an eye on different examples in places where you have massive, massive wicks. More often than not, they mark either the bottoms of tops of movements. And at the moment, it does look like Bitcoin is sustaining a good push to the upside. I want to make sure people understand before I move too much further into how Bitcoin can go higher. I am in a long at the moment, but I'm kind of hedging some bets because there is one big concern I have about Bitcoin at the moment, T-Shroom, that people need to be aware of. I'm not going to say this to fearmonger, but I want to make sure people are aware of it. I will say this before I get going. This is slightly different than what we looked at here a couple of hours ago. The MACD, after making it look like we wanted to cross bearish, T-Shirt, check out as that blue line has been heading to the downside. It's starting to semi-change its mind. Could we get a reversal on the MACD, that blue line, and head back to the upside? That would be huge. On the Luxago oscillator, though, this is where the concern comes in. And even though I am bullish and I want to see Bitcoin go up, and I have a lot of money in my accounts betting on Bitcoin going to the upside long term, I cannot ignore the charts. I don't trade with my emotions. I trade off of what I see as well. And I'm watching right now with concern as I see a red reversal dot in play. I see bearish divergence in play where we set a lower oscillator high, but the price action went higher. We got a big gray dot signaling a bearish reversal in the momentum and the power and strength of this overall movement. And then that money flow, it's not aggressive, it's not crazy, but it's technically going to the downside. This is a short strategy. There's actually usually a 90% win probability on these types of shorts, that when this happens, it should fall back down towards its or hit its smart trail. If we pull that up, we're going to see that daily smart trail coming in very, very low. It currently, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Oh, now if you talk about sneezes, this is a fun fact. If you talk about sneezes enough, you do not sneeze. So I'm going to talk right through this sneeze, but it might happen in the middle of my analysis. So if it comes... All right, I think we're good. All right, let's go back to the charts here. The current smart trail is hovering between 61,700 and 59,600, but it is climbing still, right? It's still going to the upside. It more than likely, if we saw some sort of bearish movement on Bitcoin, we're going to see a meeting of that smart trail. But the zones I'm watching for a potential bad, downside movement, this is kind of worst case scenario here, would be back down in the region of 62. I think yesterday we talked about 63 to 62. That's kind of the same range we have here. I think I drew this box on yesterday's live show, but that's our worst case scenario. All right. Are you guys done with the bearishness? Or you guys want to get over it? I do too. Let's go and move into something more positive. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart's where things are starting to look pretty nice. You can see that right now, even before I look at the oscillators, Bitcoin has printed on the Lux Algo signals and overlays a buy signal. That's what this green box is right here. We're about to break through our 4-hour smart trail, and we are seeing a buy signal on the 4-hour chart. That's kind of saying the exact opposite of the daily chart. Now, the daily chart's talking about a longer time frame, so there's a chance we see both of these end up being true. But we have a green reversal, bullish momentum, and now we have positive money flow. This is a very good sign for Bitcoin. It normally would say we should only make it here to the smart trail, but with this buy signal just now flashing, I think this is one that has a very real opportunity to make it up to its take profit, up to the red reversal cloud, and that would put us in that range of $70,000. And Tim Warren, that's me, by the way, would wear a hat on the show again for the first time in many months. But that's my deal with the people. I'm not going to put a hat on until Bitcoin hits 70,000. Just so we're clear, I want to make sure we're very clear here. This is where I think potentially you could see the 4-hour buy signal go into a daily sell signal. Going back to my chart here one more time. While the 4-hour chart is still very bullish, and you're going to see bullishness on the 8-hour chart, on the 12-hour chart, there's still a lot of things saying we can go to the upside. Potentially, do we see this chart make a move up to 70,000, a psychological level that has been being talked about now for multiple months. And then we see that daily sell reversal. By that time, the daily chart smart trail has climbed maybe even higher than these levels, and we still pull back down one more time. And that, T-Shroom, might be the final dip. But I cannot disregard or ignore the fact that the daily chart is showing us slightly oversold levels and wants to cool off a little bit. The only problem is it just might not happen in the next couple of days because our lower time frames are looking very, very good. Before I move on, we have a couple of announcements here. We have 2 new members. First of all, Crypto for Everybody just joined as a membership. He is now a YouTube Bros member. Shout out to him. And then we also had Banana Zone join as a YouTube member. You guys are gonna get some green names. You're gonna get to use some cool stickers. I think both of you actually are already members in our Discord, so not a lot extra that happens there. But hey, green names and stickers always fun here on YouTube. Thank you so much for continuing to support the Bros. Let's check in on the 2 coins that we're going to be kind of featuring on the news front today that have amazing headlines. Going to preface this by saying the charts aren't necessarily amazing, but the news is going to be very good. And if you've been watching this channel for any sort of time, we are a big fan of the expression that price is downstream of fundamentals, right? So while the price that I'm about to look at on the charts might not be fireworks, might not be crazy, it is something to keep an eye on what the charts are looking at because this news could prompt a fresh rally on both coins. Before I get there, though, I did want to remind you guys or say one thing before we go there on the Bitcoin front. Let's take a look at another chart here that is very important. It's the Bitcoin dominance chart, which has been climbing again for the last 3 days, and we are about to surpass 59% once again. We have been telling you for months to keep an eye on the years, a year and a half at least. We've been telling you to keep your eyes on 60% dominance for the top of the market. What does this mean? Well, it means that as Bitcoin climbs, some altcoins are going to climb with Bitcoin, but we also might see some fall to the downside that will help Bitcoin's dominance continue to shoot up towards that 60%. With that in mind, we're going to keep a look on a lot of altcoins over the next couple of weeks that potentially could be divergent from Bitcoin. But let's take in on the 2 that we're kind of focusing on today, starting off with Chainlink. Now, Chainlink here has been bouncing on support for the last couple of weeks. This is the daily chart right here. And this blue cloud, again, we showed it on Bitcoin, but it is the smart trail on Luxalgo. Luxalgo, of course, is the #1 indicator in the world. It's on TradingView. It is a killer when it comes to trading. If you want to get serious about trading and you want to be a part of our group, you can purchase Luxalgo with our link down below, and that gives you automatic access into our VIP trading group where we have Discord chat, and we also have private streams that happen pretty much every single day talking in depth about trading and trading strategy. You're going to want to check that out down below. Major support here for Chainlink is still in play on the daily chart. You're even going to see, actually, before I go to oscillators, you're even going to see we're under a longer term buy signal that could send the price of Chainlink up here to $15. This is going to go right in line with a falling wedge pattern breakout that we've had in store now for a couple of weeks here. If you're wondering what we're talking about, since April 11th, we have seen a constriction in price action here on Chainlink, and we have just broken out here back on September 23rd. We're working on regrouping to make the final breakout to that $15 level, but I think that's something that could happen in the next couple of weeks. That being said, when I pull up our oscillators, just like Bitcoin is under a technical sell signal, you're seeing levels here on Chainlink kind of say the daily chart is not really in an extremely bullish position. It's not as bearish necessarily as Bitcoin or some other charts, but it's definitely saying we have the potential to cool off. So we're going to have to much more trust the lower time frames here as well. Let's check out the 4-hour chart and see what it is doing. This is where we're going to see actually some confluence with Bitcoin. And what do I mean by confluence? Well, let's take a look here. The MACD looks like it's curving back to the upside and potentially could be heading again for a bullish cross. That is something that's very, very bullish. The RSI, after bottoming out around 38, looks to be heading back up towards that mid-level. But the most important oscillator of them all, the Luxalgo oscillator, does look like it's printing a very slight buy signal. This isn't my favorite buy signal. I much prefer when the oscillator drops below the 20 and the money flow has been red a lot longer and is a little fatter to the downside. But you got to take what you got here. you got your green reversal, you have a bullish momentum on the oscillator, and that money flow is flowing positive. This should be good enough. If the indicator works, if this trading strategy works the way it should, again, it does 90% of the time, this should pump the price of Chainlink in the next couple of days up here back to around 1183 and potentially as high as 1195 just to get back to that smart trail level. That's what we're keeping an eye on. Let's see if the longer time frame has anything to say about this. 8 hour, you're seeing some bullishness coming on the 8 hour, but not a buy signal. We do need to see, it's actually close. If that money flow stays positive, you could say that that's an 8 hour buy signal, in which case we're keeping an eye on these levels we were just at here on October 22nd, back up above $12. So we're seeing some of that shorter term bullishness on Chainlink. It's not crazy strong bearishness on the daily chart, but keep an eye. If it does start to make a move to the downside on Chainlink, we're going to be keeping an eye on this smart trail once again for bounces, and a level back down towards 1050 is on the table. But for now, especially with this bullish news we're about to talk about in a couple of minutes, I am bullish on Chainlink. Let's check out Cardano, and then I'm going to send it to the news with T-Shroom. Cardano's chart has been in a trading channel here now ever since back on October 1st. What is a trading channel? A trading channel is where there's a flat level of resistance up top, in this case at 36.5 cents, and a flat level of support, in this case down at 33 cents. This is going to be something to keep an eye on, as over the last 2 days, Cardano has been falling, and I do believe there's still a chance that we end up coming down back to this support level at 33 cents. One of the reasons why is because if you look at the daily chart, while it's not technically a sell signal because there was no reversal in play, you do see momentum going to the downside as well as money flow, and the MACD line is about to cross bearish on that daily chart. If you move down towards the 4-hour chart, you're going to see reasons to potentially, let's see here. This is actually a very mixed bag. This is very rare we get this kind of occurrence, but you have an overextended power play right here. You see that the oscillator is extremely low, yet the money flow was high even with excessive buyers. This is really messy, but more than likely what's going to happen is this oscillator is going to pump up a little bit and then curl to the downside when the money flow actually comes down, and we will have ourselves a little sell signal on Cardano. This is very much unlike what we saw on Chainlink and Bitcoin. Cardano is not looking as bullish here on these shorter time frames. And again, I'm looking for probably a revisit back to 33 cents, a potential take profit level down here towards 32 cents. One of our special indicators that we will be releasing in the next couple of weeks, the Investing Bros liquidation chart, is also something to keep an eye on. And you will see that we have plenty of liquidity down here below us. Actually, a fat level here on the 4-hour chart, coming in around 33.9. Let's go a little bit shorter here, a shorter time frame. Let's see what that's kind of saying to us. Liquidations that pretty much bring us all the way back down here towards 33 cents. So while the long-term future of Cardano is still to the upside, prepare yourself over the next couple of days. We could spike back up as high as 35 cents and then keel over. I think you're going to get another chance to buy at 33.4 cents, according to the analysis that we're looking at here on the chart. That is going to wrap up our technical analysis for today. Stay tuned. If you guys want to see liquidation charts on TradingView, if you like that indicator, it's going to be released here in the next couple of weeks as a package you can purchase with the Investing Bros. We had this special project we've been working on for a couple of months now with Luxalgo. We're actually going to release a couple of brand new indicators that are extremely helpful for traders out there. Stay tuned if you're interested in that. But with that said, T-Shroom, we're going to save the Tesla TA until the section we actually talk about Tesla. So I'm going to throw it over to you. I'm going to let you dive into the news. Of course, the charts right now on Chainlink and Cardano are not necessarily popping and showing anything majorly bullish, but there is news in the headlines that could spark a fresh rally. What is that news?
Oh, Tim, there's some very big headlines. Let's go ahead and get into them now. Smash the like, and let's do it. We're proud to announce our partnership with Chainlink to bring high-quality, low-cost Oracle services to Bitcoin builders on Spider Chain with CCIP as its canonical cross-chain infrastructure. Got a couple of new names here you may not have heard of. This is from the Botanics Labs account here, a pretty big account, followed by some folks that I know, like, and trust, including Shizzy, who's big in the oracles. In the the Bitcoin Layer 2 community. Let's call it ordinals. I was close with oracles, ordinals. And then we also have it straight from the horse's mouth here from Chainlink. Quoting here, Botanix Labs has joined the Chainlink Scale program. As part of this collaboration, Botanix Labs is integrating Chainlink CCIP as canonical cross-chain infrastructure and Chainlink data feeds into SpiderChain, an EVM equivalent Bitcoin Layer 2. That's a pretty big statement from Chainlink to call it an EVM. That's a Ethereum virtual machine, for those of you who don't know, equivalent to Bitcoin Layer 2. That's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big claim. There's not many in the space that I would take seriously making that claim. Chainlink is one of them. They figured that with this partnership with SpiderChain and Botanix Labs that they have cracked the code here. Now, I'm not a dev. Tim's not a dev. There's definitely a lot of dev brain cells that are required for digging too deep into this. But what this really shows me is that Chainlink has had a lot up their sleeve that they've been developing, that they've been working on. And it comes at a really interesting time, Tim. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the next story, and then we'll get the facts, we'll digest it together. This is breaking news from the Cardano camp. Cardano is set to unlock over 1.3 trillion in Bitcoin liquidity through integrating with Bitcoin OS. So a partnership working with a big known chain, Cardano. Native assets can now move securely between Cardano and Bitcoin, with BTC gaining smart contract capability and seamless blockchain interaction. ADA users now access Bitcoin securely without intermediaries, according to AI Love account. So very, very big claims here coming from two very, very big chains, right? They've been around in multiple cycles. They've been able to gain large multi-billion-dollar market caps and hold on to those market caps. So if anybody's going to make these claims that they're able to create the EVM equivalent of Bitcoin Layer 2 and create smart contracts for Bitcoin, it's going to be Chainlink. It's going to be Cardano. And I'm surprised that Solana didn't get in on the fun today, but I guess they didn't get the memo. Tim, it's all happening on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is kind of the central node in all this. What is the winner from all this? Is it Chainlink? Is it Cardano? Is it Bitcoin? And just how bullish is this?
I think it's very bullish for all three. I think ultimately it's going to be helping a very mutual relationship, even though it's separate, right? So we're not talking about a trio between Chainlink, Cardano, and Bitcoin. It's both Chainlink with Bitcoin and Cardano with Bitcoin. The benefits for Cardano and Chainlink is access to that higher liquidity level. There's nothing with the same level of liquidity as the Bitcoin space. So getting in there, having a bridge attached to Bitcoin and allowing it to use that, that's a big benefit, I would say, to Cardano. Not that Chainlink's liquidity at the moment is ridiculous, but Cardano, that's been one of the things that people have kind of even said against Cardano. When you look at everything that's happening, the movements, the volume, the liquidity, there's been problems there. Getting access to the Bitcoin liquidity, that's what that article was kind of talking about, getting access to $1.3 trillion worth of Bitcoin. That's a big win for Cardano, right? Same with Chainlink. Chainlink just continues to partner and show that it has a big use case going forward. It's going to be a big player in the crypto space. I would say this is a bigger win for Cardano than Chainlink, but Bitcoin's absolutely going to win from this as well, because it's been one thing that people have said, oh, can Bitcoin stay number one? There's no options for smart contracts. There's no options to do this. Well, guess what? With effectively, as the article said, Chainlink and Cardano can be borderline used as layer 2 solutions to continue to build things on Bitcoin. That could be absolutely huge. We talked about this last year, T-Shroom, how Bitcoin layer 2s would be a very huge part of this bull market. That's one of the reasons why we're still very bullish on stacks. But effectively, while remaining layer 1s, Chainlink and Cardano, they've also doubled down, making themselves Bitcoin layer 2s. They're getting in on some of that big action. They're getting access to that high liquidity. I don't know just yet how bullish this is going to be. I can't put a price tag on. I can't say, well, that just gave me an additional 50 cents per coin on Cardano at the end of the bull market. I can't say that yet. But I do know that all of this adoption continues to, A, give it spotlight, to, A, perk up and excite a very quiet recently but big community for both Cardano and Chainlink. This is going to be bullish. We'll just have to wait a couple of weeks and months to find out just how bullish it is. Like I said earlier on the charts at the moment aren't necessarily giving you a lot of oomph right now. There's actually signs that both of them could correct a little bit here. But prices downstream of fundamentals. Wait for this to kick in. Wait for devs to start using it. Wait for people to actually understand the process of integrating into both Chainlink and Cardano and using the Bitcoin liquidity. And we could see a massive boom for both of them coming forward because of it. I'm very bullish on Chainlink and Cardano. There was a super chat just given from Crypto for Everybody. Shout out to him. He's just been very active today supporting the bros community. He said, if you had to choose ADA or Link, mean question. I don't know what the mean question is. I don't think it's a mean question.
Before we answer that, I want to point out that this is likely something that was in development from Chainlink and Botonix Labs. Just to go a kind of a 4D chess, a little bit of a tinfoil hat layer deeper before we answer this question. There's something that Chainlink was probably developing and waiting for the right moment to publish this partnership with Botonix Labs and SpiderChain, right? This was the moment it chose when Cardano came out with a similar, it's not doing the same thing, but a similar headline, right? These are not working as these collaborators here, right? Chainlink is showing its might, showing its muscle, as it's done over the last 2 months to XRP, stealing its spotlight, stealing its shine. Are we seeing something similar here with Cardano? It's causing people to ask this exact question, ADA or Link, right? You don't often associate Link as a competitor to ADA, but they're all competitors because they're all trying to get investment, trying to get allocation from crypto whales, crypto retail, and TradFi institutional money as well. I'm going Link. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I think if the question is which one's going to make you more money in this bull market, I still think the answer here is Link. That being said, this is the one reason I said I think this piece of news is bigger for Cardano than it is for Chainlink. I think you're right. I think they've been working with Chainlink and the Bitcoin team on this for a while. Not the Bitcoin itself team, but what is the name of the company again?
For Cardano?
No, for the Chainlink one.
Botonix Labs.
Botonix Labs. They've probably been working on this for a while. But Cardano, some people forget this. Charles Hoskinson was really big on this back in 2021, how he said that Cardano would be the future of interoperability. Well, this is a big step in that direction for them to continue to build. This is what we know about Cardano. Cardano, they think about everything they do. They make sure that every move they make comes with security, with privacy. There's been very little problems with Cardano whatsoever, but they are very slow at development. But whenever they finally land something, they always land it extremely successfully, and other coins always watch how they operate and end up copying somehow. He called his shot years ago that Cardano was going to be a big player in the interoperability world, but we hadn't seen any major win just yet. Well, this could be the beginning steps. We know that the Cardano team, the IOHK team, has been excited about this newest update to Cardano and what's going to happen in this next year. They themselves have been extremely bullish. The community hasn't caught up yet. Maybe this is the first domino in Cardano really laying down the groundwork of what they're truly capable of in the interoperability world. That's why I think, again, I'm leaning the edge of which coin's going to benefit more from this news, Cardano or Link. I'm going to say Cardano. That being said, though, in this bull market, which coin do I think is going to have a better bull market, going to have a lot more money flow in? For a plethora of other reasons, I still believe Chainlink is the better investment over the next year. Over the next 20 years, I think we'll have to continue to watch how crypto and blockchain develops, what it comes out with, what updates teams come with, how important is each asset to its respective fields, because even though they have similar headlines today, they are very different coins, right? There's a world in which both Chainlink and Cardano do extremely well because they solve very, very different problems. Yep. It's too early to say which one's going to have the better 20 years, but if we're just talking about this bull market, I'm giving the edge to Chainlink still.
Yeah. You know, if we've had interesting relationships with both of these coins. It's great to see both of these in the news. I hold both of them. Tim also holds both of them. Mm-hmm. You know, it's no secret Cardano has kind of fallen out of favor with some members of the crypto community, and that has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of folks are here to make money, right? And Cardano has just not really delivered in terms of returns. Chainlink has, right? I like to see this news. I'd like to see Cardano keep up the momentum here, continue to dazzle folks, both on the development side that they do very well, but then also on the partnership side. This is a partnership. Bitcoin OS, is that something that everybody's heard about? Not really, right? So it could be bigger, but I'll take what I can get. Can they build on this momentum and keep moving forward? It's kind of like when a sports team gets a big win, can they come back next week and get another win and build on that momentum? Get the fans behind them, keep things moving. Well, Tesla has done just that. Elon Musk dazzling investors in yesterday's big call. Tesla stock soars 20%, heads for the best day in over a decade on Musk's 2025 growth projections. Let's get into, there he is, look at him, he's having fun. Let's get into some of the details here. CEO Elon Musk, maybe you've heard of him, said on the call that his best guess is that vehicle growth will reach 20% to 30% next year, citing low vehicle costs and the advent of autonomy. An analyst surveyed by FactSet were expecting delivery growth of 15% for 2025, and analysts over at Morgan Stanley are less optimistic, setting their estimates for 14%. Regardless, the stock market sent Tesla higher in a historic move. 20%, you don't see that much in the stock market unless it's a leveraged ETF. It's brilliant. I'm glad I did not sell my Tesla as it's been kind of coming down a little bit, and I wish that I'd bought more, right? But that's always what we say. Tim, I know that you've been taking a look at the Tesla charts. Now that we've gotten into the details, gotten to see Elon's face, let's take a look there at the chart for Tesla.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. The charts are not going to be as helpful as sometimes they've been in the past. Ultimately, what I can tell you when the daily chart is that we knew that a pullback back to 215 was going to happen. We had a sell signal from Luxalgo here a couple of weeks ago. There was a take profit level right here at 215. So that explains coming down here. But I think, T-Shroom, when you look at the charts, this is why we tell people, whenever people ask, hey, are you guys more of a technical analysis channel? Are you a news channel? What are you? We're a mixture of both. I firmly believe that charts tell you significant levels of price action, and news kind of tells you when. Anyone who trades solely on news is going to miss a lot of information and make some mistakes. And vice versa, anyone who trades solely on charts and disregards news is going to also be perplexed. Well, this is one T-Shroom that if I didn't know about the headline you just read, if I didn't know about Elon's speech and how people responded to it, there's not necessarily a whole lot of signs that this was ready to pop. I mean, we still see negative money flow. We did see the oscillators were low. We had reversals in play, but we didn't see anything saying yet it was ready to go. This recent move today is causing a bullish move on our MACD, a bullish move on oscillators, a bullish move on the RSI. But before today's big call, these were still technically making moves to the downside. And even when you go to lower time frames, you might say, well, maybe the lower time frames are telling us it was time to reverse. Literally, we were somewhat oversold yesterday. We were about 50% oversold. We literally on the 4-hour chart in a matter of 2 candles went from being oversold to now we're registering 70% overbought, right? So the 4-hour chart was not necessarily telling us we were ready to go. You can see on the money flow, we're still, until this morning, we're flowing negative. Our oscillators, again, we're low, but no major sign at a big rally coming. But now we're starting to flip from where, yes, the charts were overextended. Yes, we were saying we were a little oversold. It was time to make a rally. We're already now going to start looking at on the hourly chart levels to take a look to come back down on Tesla. We're 100% overbought. We have been pretty much all of today after the pump. The MACD is slowing down that acceleration it had earlier this morning. And now we're starting to see the signs pile up on the 1-hour Luxago oscillator that there's just not a lot more strength that can happen on Tesla before a cool off happens. We're getting reversals. Our rounding oscillator and our rounding power indicator is turning. The money flow is still positive, but when that turns, I'm going to look for some form of a correction. And more than likely, T-Shroom, I don't think we're going to come down. This is accelerating smart trail, so we shouldn't look at 234. I do think that a potential revisit back down to a bullish breaker block at 246 could be in the cards. I say that. Like I said, the 1 hour is massively overextended. The 4-hour is already overextended after, again, this morning saying we were oversold. I think a cool-off could be in order. That being said, the 4-hour chart is making it look like we could make a run up to 270 again before any type of correction. I'm not telling you necessarily to enter a short against Tesla. Tesla's doing something very, very powerful. I am saying keep an eye on these levels of liquidity that might be revisited. A lot of people missed out on opportunities. And when that happens, especially if those people were whales and institutions, there's a habit to bring the boat back. Could it take a couple of days? Could it take a week or more? Absolutely. But I think there still is a chance that this Tesla chart does turn back over, corrals itself back down again, and then we take off to the upside again. With that said, though, we have been telling people, hopefully you have been listening to the channel. We don't talk about Tesla every single day, but we have been telling you guys ever since way back in here, back in August, that Tesla was primed for a big move eventually, and we're nowhere close to it, to actually playing that out. What we have on the daily / we could even go to the weekly chart to see it. We have right now developing on the Tesla weekly chart a major inverse head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder playing out right there. This, in the next couple of months, will / should send Tesla's price back up to levels. Let's see. Is that a new all-time high, actually? Yeah, we have predictions for new all-time highs coming in at 484. That's what the charts are saying, but then let's return back to the news. Let's return back to the sentiment. T-shirt, remember, one of the biggest reasons why Tesla has been falling since 2021 is just like the rest of the crypto space. What has the United States been doing? They've been raising interest rates. Well, Tesla is a car company. People usually, when they're buying brand new cars, some buy in cash, but most people take out loans. When interest rates are high, you are a lot less likely to go purchase a brand new vehicle. But as we start to cut rates, we cut 50 here back in September, and more than likely we're going to see another 25 basis points cut here early November. This is the catalyst for why people are buying more cars, they're taking more loans, a big explosive move coming for Tesla. Ride the volatility. Look for every dip you can to buy because big moves are coming for one of the most exciting stocks on the market.
Yep. And just to supplement that, we don't talk stocks too much. So when we have an opportunity, we want to really dig in. This is the NASDAQ, right? And if you can, this is going back to August is where my cursor is at. So if you look at August 2024 to where we are now, the stock market by measure of the NASDAQ is up almost 20%. To live price, it's up about 18%. So investors on the TradFi side that really only invest in equities, they're looking for discounts, right? Because they look at the NASDAQ and they're seeing, okay, big tech is at all-time highs. I want to find value, and I want to find it at a discount. Well, they're finding it in Tesla. But Tim, you make an excellent point. Tesla is different from Google. It's different from Amazon. It's different from Apple because people don't have to finance. Usually, they don't have to finance a smartphone. They don't have to finance some new gadget they're buying on Amazon. They don't have to finance AWS web services. They don't have to finance a Google search and looking at ads on the internet, right? But you do have to finance a car most of the time, and that comes with added cost of interest. Interest rates are coming down. Tesla price should go up as investors say, yeah, maybe I'll sell my Apple. It's a little overbought. Maybe I'll sell my Google. Maybe I'll sell Amazon. And NVIDIA even perhaps could take a bit of a hit and rotate as we see a rotation into Elon Musk's company there, Tesla. Everybody's such a big fan of him. If you're not, let us know why in the chat. Let us know why you don't like Elon or Tesla. But let's go ahead and get into the Bitcoin news for the day. Can you believe it? We've gotten this far into the show, and we're only now getting to the Bitcoin news. It's because there's always something exciting going on, and we're talking about it here on the Investing Bros. Smash the like button and consider subscribing. Bitcoin whales are making waves, Tim. Glassnode data reveals a surge to 1,678 entities holding at least 1,000 Bitcoin, the highest since January 2021. Are we witnessing a new era of market dominance, Tim? I'm just going to go ahead with their question. What do you think?
Oh, with a new era of market dominance, just because there's more whales?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure
what that question means.
I don't even know if I fully understand what the question's asking. Yeah.
I do think that what we could be seeing is potentially a more stable Bitcoin price as the share of Bitcoin held is being held by folks who have a lot of money and understand that you have to take risk in order to get return. These are not, the retail has not shown up. yet in the cycle. They will. Statistically, they will at some point, especially in the late euphoria phase. Unfortunately, they wait that long. Has to do with education rates. However, those who are in now understand that what you could have bought all summer is very, very cheap Bitcoin, a commodity that is only going to rise because its fixed value sits on top as the numerator of the denominator, which is euros, dollars, and Japanese yuan, and
Now,
yen, and every other fiat currency.
Show the tweet again. Does it specify the definition of there's different levels of whales? Okay, so this is saying 1,000 Bitcoin. That's what's very important here, and I want to take this story in a direction of why I think is so bullish. Being a whale in Bitcoin has nothing to do with the amount of money that you have. Obviously, whatever the price of Bitcoin is times your supply is going to tell us how much money you have. But to become a whale, you have to own a certain amount of Bitcoin. In this case, what they're talking about is an increase in the amount of people who own Bitcoin over 1,000 Bitcoin, right? We're not talking about little itty bitty people. We're not talking about people who they started their own company in their garage. They just sold it to Microsoft for a couple $1 million. No. To own 1,000 Bitcoin, we're talking about extremely wealthy people who do not play around with their money. And the number just hit a new all-time high of how many whales owning 1,000 Bitcoin are in existence. Do some logical thinking with me. If we were at the top of the market, would that number be climbing or falling? The right answer is it would be falling. If we were about to reverse and go to the downside, these very intelligent people would be dumping their Bitcoin to take profit before retail investors do. They don't think like retail investors. They're a lot more advanced. They're a lot smarter. These numbers increase on dips. These numbers increase on buying opportunities right before major big moves come. Here's what I'm telling you. Right now, we just saw an increased amount of people that own over 1,000 Bitcoin, meaning multi-millionaires, probably most of them billionaires, say we are super bullish on Bitcoin. We've also seen charts recently tell us that a lot of these whales are taking their Bitcoin off exchange in record numbers, meaning they are going to refuse to sell. At a certain point, the writing on the wall says there's not a lot of room to the downside left for Bitcoin in the short term. Everything is pressing it up. Everything is pressing it up. Right now, we'll just do a quick update. Someone said it in chat, but Bitcoin making some moves even while we're on the show. We're up over 68,000 again. This is actually a very, very positive sign for Bitcoin. By the way, in our trading group, I didn't say this during our technical analysis section. I did say it for our traders. Keep an eye on a smaller time frame, very bullish pattern. We talked about the inverse head and shoulders pattern on Tesla. Same thing is happening here with Bitcoin. That's an inverse head and shoulders pattern. This would give us a price action for Bitcoin making its way up here to roughly $70,000. Again, I did say earlier, I think there's a very good chance 70K is the next target to watch, and then a cool off happens. How far we cool off, I'm not very certain, but getting up to that psychological level that people have been talking about now for months is more than likely happening. And based off this hourly chart and the momentum we're picking up as we break back through resistance, this is something, again, I'm going to put us on the radar. It's Thursday. We started the window of being able to hit 70K last weekend. This weekend, we might actually see that come to fruition. The charts are looking good for it on the shorter time frames. Let's continue to monitor and see how it goes. But that's a big reason, the news article and this chart right now, to be very bullish on the big cryptocurrency Bitcoin.
Tim, I'm going to stick. We got some more Bitcoin news. We even have an altcoin an exchange headline, but I'm going to stick to my guns, Tim. I don't think we get a 70K Bitcoin before November 5th. And while we're on the topic, a quick check-in: 62.7% versus 37.4% for Harris. This is the current Polymarket spread. Let's go ahead and get into the Bitcoin news here. Continued. Right, so this is the weekly candles for the inflows to the ETFs, and as you can see, we had a very, very big candlestick here not too long ago, last week, and that was responsible for 2.13 billion in inflows. We haven't seen those kind of numbers since all the way back here in March. So very, very bullish to see that. Drilling into the daily, this would have been yesterday's print, 6 p.m. is when this data drops. You can see that we're already back into inflows. So the bulls are buying. Investors are convinced that the bottom is in for Bitcoin and we're going higher. Could there be more dips? There could, as we showed earlier. But it's headlines like these that are continuing to make Bitcoin investors invigorated Pennsylvania House of Representatives passes Bitcoin rights bill to protect residents' right to self-custody Bitcoin and use it as payment. This is from Fox News. So you can see the voting spread there. Ultimately, Tim, this isn't going to have effect on too many people in the United States, but if you live in Pennsylvania, it's a big win. Let us know in the chat, in the comments, do you live in Pennsylvania? Will this be affecting you and your right to self-possess, self-custody Bitcoin? If so, let us know. But it's those kind of headlines, Tim. Continual wins, even small ones like that. I would, it's not a small win for those who worked extremely hard on it. You have to give it up to them. But it's small in the global context of what Bitcoin can be. But it's those wins that keep momentum and keep investors interested and confident in the underlying chain. Kraken announces Ink Chain, an Ethereum Layer 2 built using Optimism OP stack. Testnet goes live November 11th, and mainnet is expected 2025. So Kraken going ahead and taking a cue from Coinbase, who did a similar thing with their base Layer 2, I believe was also from Optimism stack. And then I think we also heard of another, I can't remember what it is, genuinely, I don't remember, but they another organization just launched a Layer 2 on Optimism stack as well. So Optimism is getting some nice white labels out there of other Layer 2s for Ethereum. Don't know how needed they are. I suppose they are. There's still some congestion and some higher fees on Ethereum than other chains. But, yeah, good for Kraken. Great for Kraken there. That is going to conclude our news, Tim. That's a lot of bullishness for Chainlink, for Cardano, for Bitcoin, certainly, for Tesla. It's all the types of projects that we talk about here day in and day out, trying to analyze with you all in the Investing Bros community. Tim, are you ready for today's Factoid of the day?
Listen, I am so ready. We got to get a super chat earlier, much earlier. I think we missed it. Someone asked, Christian Vera asked, what's your price prediction for 38 Ethereum? I'm not going to go with the 38 Ethereum. I'll tell you, there's a price prediction put up in the last couple of weeks we just made on Ethereum. You can do your own math, multiply it times 38, depending on when the bull market ends up topping out. Is it going to top out early? Is it going to top out on time? Is it going to top out late? We have 3 different price predictions for you about where Ethereum could get. That's a good topic. Real quickly, before we do the Factoid of the day, we're going to continue on this chat. I want to address something that people have been talking about in chat. If you have no idea what I'm talking about with these price prediction videos, after this video is over, after the live stream is over, go check out a playlist. I believe it's called Bull Market Tops. Price predictions or something like that. So we've so far done Bitcoin, Ethereum. We have done Solana, Chainlink, and this morning I put out our updated AVAX price prediction. And I've seen this comment under a couple of the videos, people saying that you're going to get wrecked if you hold on until 2026. Well, the reason for that is because there is a scenario, there's a thought process that there's an opportunity for the extended bull market to go into 2026. I want to be very clear with people on 2 fronts. Number 1, just because something can does not mean it will. And nowhere in the video do I guarantee anybody what is going to happen and if we're going to definitely go to 2026. I do say that I'm leaning towards that direction, that's a real possibility, but that doesn't change the fact that you still need to have a strategy, an exit strategy of when to take profit. And the truth is, a wise person is probably going to take at least a little bit of profit in April, no matter what, a little bit of profit in October, no matter what, and some people will go ahead and hold a portion of their crypto for an extended bull market into 2026. So I say all that to say, just because I say that something can happen, and I even say there's a good case for why it would, doesn't mean everyone should hold 100% of their crypto all the way into an extended bull market. I want to get that out of the way. But the second thing, and I tweeted about this literally about an hour and a half ago, there are so many people that are still active, and I love that they're giving their opinions. I love that they're learning, but there's a lot of people that are making predictions and calls and giving their opinions out of a place of trauma from the 2021 bull market. If you are newer, you might be wondering, Tim, what the heck are you talking about, the trauma of the 2021 bull market? Well, 2021 bull market, it actually started and it really started getting exciting in October of 2020. It got very explosive, very fast. And the amount of people who started to talk about Bitcoin getting to $100,000 and Ethereum getting to $10,000 and all of these massive price predictions, the price never got anywhere close. Of course, we had an early top in May of 2021. Elon Musk, we've been speaking about him today, had some FUD, said that Bitcoin was bad for the environment, and we saw a 50% pullback on the Bitcoin prices, making some believe that the bull market was over early. Then we started to rally again late in 2021, hitting a brand new all-time high in Bitcoin of 69,000. The rumors of $100,000 Bitcoin started rumbling again. And of course, the markets turned over and crashed. And a lot of people were caught at the top. They did not take profits. And by the time it was clear that the bull market was over, the price had dropped dramatically. And what people are doing that lived through that is they're taking those bad memories, those hurts and those promises they thought were going to happen, the failures, and they're moving this over into this future bull market saying there's no way that Bitcoin is explosive. There's no way that crypto ends up having an amazing bull run. It's going to be disappointing just like 2021. Is that possible? It's possible, but it's not necessarily the smartest way to think about it. The way to think about 2021 is that 2021 was the fighting bull market. What do I mean by that? Well, there's this saying about how things kind of transition. When things first get developed, people ignore you. People have no idea what you even are. And effectively, what we're talking about is between 2009 and 2013, nobody knew what Bitcoin was except for the very, very highly intelligent computer nerds who found it somewhere on the deep webs. But the average everyday person, if you'd ask them what's Bitcoin in 2011, 2012, 2013, they had no idea what it was. Then in 2013, when Bitcoin started to make some fireworks, we entered the next phase. The next phase is they laugh at you. Between 2013 and 2017, we saw a massive onslaught of people making jokes about this crazy internet cryptocurrency called Bitcoin. TV shows made jokes about the nerds. I remember lots of TV shows making jokes about people investing in Bitcoin. It was that crazy thing that all the computer nerds were going to lose all their money on. No one took it seriously. But then between 2017 and 2021, this is the bull market of fight is what I'm calling it. It says first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, and then they fight you. There was heavy suppression. There was heavy desire from institutions, from large players to suppress cryptocurrency. And while it had that very explosive 2020 and 2021, the prices got nowhere close to where they really should have because people like Elon Musk saying it was an environmental nightmare, people like JP Morgan, people like BlackRock, all these institutions fudded the crap out of cryptocurrency, suppressed it, and shorted it so that retail investors lose out. And that's where your trauma is coming from. Your first bull market probably was the worst bull market that crypto has had and will see for some time. But the reason you should ditch that trauma, the reason you should be so bullish and optimistic about this bull market is because the next phase after they fight you is they join you. And that's why this is the bull market of institutional adoption. The same people that fought, suppressed, and manipulated Bitcoin to the downside back in 2021 are the same exact people buying it in bulk right now. And unfortunately, retail investors who suffer from 2021 trauma, who are going to continue to post on the internet, be careful, take out your profits early. Bitcoin won't even make it to 100,000. It's the lie of a century. They're going to miss out on a lot of gains. They're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities because they're not allowing their brain to function properly due to the trauma they had 4 years ago. So I want to preface that with our price predictions. In no terms am I guaranteeing that the bull market extends, that Bitcoin goes to astronomical heights, that we go into 2026. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. But I am saying when you look at the situation of how things have played out in the past and how it's playing out right now and what the future looks like, the case for an extended, extremely bullish bull market, in my personal opinion, is the most likely outcome. You're free to disagree, but I want to make sure people who are newer to investing have a healthy, unbiased, full view of what cryptocurrency and the history of the markets look like. So when they make their informed opinions about when and where they want to take profit, they're taking everything without any trauma, without any bias, just clearly looking at the charts, looking at the sentiment, and investing properly.
And if you look at my screen here, this is the playlist that Tim was referring to, bull market top price predictions. So this is, so far we have AVAX, Chainlink, Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. You can find all of that and much, much more content on our channel that you're watching right now. Just go over to the Investing Bros channel, make sure that you subscribe, hit the subscription button, then go to playlists, and then you will see right over here, this is the one you want to click on. So Tim, this has been a lot of fun, and it's about to get even more fun because we're going to do our factoid of the day. Tim, It's brought to you by Decrypted.tax. We're actually having a meeting with Decrypted.tax today because we trust them with our personal and business crypto taxes. What was Tesla's first mass-produced electric vehicle? Was it A, the Model 3, B, the Roadster, C, the Model S, or was it D, Tim, the Model X? Tim, our resident chief correspondent, Tesla expert, what you got here?
So I don't know about the Roadster. I know that it went S, then 3, then X, and that was a little hidden meme from Elon Musk, who loves to have these little jokes put into everything he does. But I don't know when the Roadster came out. So I'm tempted to go with S. Well, actually, now this says 3. I'm tempted to go with B, actually. Maybe it was Roadster, then S, and then the play on 3 also being a backwards E is also the third edition. Let's go. For that logic, I'm going to go B. Roadster was the first one. Probably wrong, but I'm going to go with it was Roadster, then S, then 3, then X.
All right, let us know in the chat, in the comments, what do you think is the right answer? Here we go.
There we go. Come on.
I'm proud of you, Tim. I really am.
Yeah.
You're a smart guy.
I almost went with C, so I almost biffed that one. But logic again. It would have been weird if the Series 3 was the second one. So
yeah,
it made more logical sense to go B.
Yeah, we've got a super chat. We've got some really good, thought-provoking questions in here. This one from Crypto for Everybody. They have said, "Getting late in Germany. Keep going, dear bros." Big heart. Thank you so much, Crypto for Everybody.
Absolutely. He's been very active today, extremely supportive.
Yep. Kim,
shout out to him. Love having him in here.
And Kim asked, question about Bitcoin. Are people like me, the average Joe, who don't have that much money, are we doing ourselves a disservice by focusing on meme coins and other coins if Bitcoin leads the way?
People like me with average Joe who don't have much money. No. So we had this conversation the other day in one of our VIP trading groups. This is why we have one of the options, our Ultimates package. We actually do one-on-ones with people to walk through their portfolio, understand how much money they have invested, what their goals are, and just how much they're willing to risk, right? You cannot give the same portfolio breakdown and investment strategy for any two people because every person is different. But what you're saying right there, you're saying an average Joe with not a lot of money. I don't know what that means. To some people, $100,000 is not that much money. To other people, that's a lot of money, right? But it sounds like to you, you don't think you have that much money. If you don't think you have that much money, my assumption is your goals are pretty lofty, that you want to walk out of this bull market with a lot more money. You're not doing yourself a disservice by talking about a lot of altcoins rather than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, if we're being very real, best case scenario is going to what would that be? A 4x, 5x to get over 350 is our 2026 price prediction. 5x is great investment, right? That's great money, especially if you're used to the stock market. To know you're going to 5x your money in the next 2 years is phenomenal. But compared to other assets that are going to 5x in the next couple of months, that are going to more 10 to 15x, if you have less money in your wallet, I'm not saying own zero Bitcoin, but I'm saying if you think this is the market that you need to get aggressive and you need to chase that 10x, that 15x, that 20x, you're going to need to keep that Bitcoin allotment very, very low. If you're the type of person who has a lot of money, if you are in the millions and you only need a 2x, a 3x, then maybe you don't even go into altcoins at all. That's the type of person who should invest in nothing but Bitcoin. But if you want to make big gains, you got to get risky. You got to challenge yourself, and you got to slip away from Bitcoin and come into some of these higher risk yet higher reward altcoins. That's the play. We got another super chat from Swiper. No swiping. Isn't that a character from the kids show Dora? Yeah, okay.
Dora.
He steals things. So is this guy steal things? Is that a front? Are you telling us you're coming in here to steal? Agree to disagree, he says. I came in 2021, had 3 years to cope with losses. Best coping device is education. I knew Solana at $8 was a steal. Hey, great. Great job there. I don't know if you're agreeing with disagreeing on something I said, if you're responding to somebody else. My point is, I'm not saying forget 2021 because people need to learn from it. What I'm saying is this pain and this suffering feeling that you're just like, oh, Bitcoin can't make it. It can't go very high. It'll barely make $100,000, even if it does. To think that the bull market's going to resemble and look like 2021, in my opinion, is pretty foolish because it's really just coming from a place of trauma. The data, the logic, the way the market's going to move don't support that. I think that it's going to look a lot more like what gold looked like back in 2004 after an extended period of time after its ETF got created, and it was boring. It got explosive for the next couple of years. I think it's going to look similar to potentially what the 2017 or 2013 bull markets looked like with very big gains. I'm not talking about Bitcoin doing 20x, 30x, 40x. I'm talking about astronomical money going from where it's currently at $1.3 trillion in market cap, sitting probably more than likely in the category of 3 to 4 trillion, maybe even by 2026, pushing into the $7 trillion range. That's what I'm talking about. Massive money flowing in, and this is the opportunity to gain a lot of it. Don't let your trauma stop you from making those huge gains. T-Shirt, before we wrap it up, I have a story I want to share at the end of the show, but okay. I want to, that's my conclusion. Anything you want to say to people before we call it a day for today?
Yeah, well, we haven't shown this graphic in a while, and it's because we haven't been talking about the Fed much. But we brought up the rates today in conjunction with the Tesla story, currently pricing in 25 basis points into the gambling spread, 83% likelihood of a cut, which is still pretty big. There were some rumblings that we wouldn't get a cut after one of the labor prints that we got. But yeah, that's what I got to say. Bros, I'm bullish. Continue to hodl. Continue to DCA if you can. Don't swap around coins in the top 100 or even 200. You're just paying fees you don't need to pay. Just, you got what you got. You should have been buying all summer and all of 2023. If you're just getting new to crypto, stick into Bitcoin. Learn this cycle. Maybe take a very little tiny bit of risk in some of the altcoins, and you're going to be just fine. Tim, what you got?
Yeah, real quick, you're going to be going live with our members right after this for Q&A section too, right, T-Shroom?
That's right, Tim.
Thursday, 4 o'clock, T-Shroom Q&A. Do not miss it. I want to tell a story. I got the privilege of getting to talk to a longtime listener of the show yesterday. You guys see him in chat here all the time. I don't know if I've seen his name in here today. I'll go a quick look. I don't think I have. But longtime listener, longtime supporter, Bedridden. He is one of our moderators. You guys see him. You know him. You love him. Had a great conversation with him. He was giving some great feedback, some thoughts on some improvements of different things we can do. But there was a part of the conversation I just stopped. I said, hey, man, I just wanted, it's been a while since we got to talk personally. How are you doing? And the answer he gave me was so beautiful and the epitome of what I'm hoping all of you could say as well. And you respond in the comments in the chat. Let me know. Tell me, how are you doing? But this is what Bedridden said when I asked him how he was doing. He said, Tim, I have no stress. I am blessed. My wife is good. My baby is good. My house is good. There's food on my table. I have no stress. I am good. He didn't tell me anything about how his trading was going. He didn't tell me anything about how his investing was going. He didn't tell me about how his favorite sports team was doing. He didn't tell me about maybe some pains or aches or he told me that his life was good because his wife, his child, his house, his food, an attitude of gratitude were overwhelming. And he ultimately said, with no stress, my life is good. Guys, there is so much in this world that adds stress. And if you think that making money, while I really want you to do it, I want you guys to make wealth beyond your wildest dreams over the next couple of years and for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life, making money doesn't solve all of your problems. Every single week, it feels like we hear of a new person who was a billionaire or a millionaire, a very wealthy, well-off person doing something to themselves. I'm not going to go into detail here, obviously, on YouTube, but unaliving themselves. Why? Because their family wasn't good. Their children weren't good. They might have had money. They might have had food to eat. They might have everything, but their life was full of anxiety, of stress, of chaos. Money doesn't solve all of that. So if you're the type of person who only comes and tunes in for the sake of making more money, I encourage you, I urge you, spend more time with people like Bedridden. Spend more time with myself, T-Shroom. Ask people how they're doing. Check in on each other. Get to a level. The goal is not to become a multimillionaire. The goal is to live a life full of joy and stress-free. To say that my wife is good, my children are good, my house is in order, and there's food on my table. If that is the attitude you can get yourself to live with, whether you have $1 or you have $1 billion, your life will be a good one. Go be just like Bedridden. Love you guys. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. Adios.